The Church Growth and Giving Show, your resource for growing faithful communities. Brought to you by Vanco, helping tens of thousands of churches thrive for over 20 years. Join Jordan and Andy as they share insights drawn from decades of church giving and engagement expertise.
Hey, Jordan. Today, we're going to be talking about how churches get found online. You know, when someone moves to a new town or is just looking for a church community, what do? They Google it, right?
It's probably the first thing they do. They pull out their phone and type something like churches near me. And that simple search, that moment, is critical for churches wanting to grow and connect. If your church doesn't show up prominently in those results, especially on Google Search and Maps, you're essentially invisible online to those potential new members. But the good news is, SEO for churches isn't rocket science. At its core, SEO is just about making your church's online presence, primarily your website and related listings, easy for search engines like Google to understand and rank. When Google understands what your church is about and where it is, it can show it to the right people, the people actively searching in your community.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like making sure the sign outside your church building is clear and easy to read, but for the internet.
That's a great analogy. And just like having a clear sign and maybe directions on the main road is important for physical visibility, having good local SEO is crucial for online visibility. Because churches primarily serve a specific geographic community.
Right. Someone searching for a church in Chicago isn't likely to attend one in Dallas.
Precisely. So, local SEO focuses on optimizing your online presence to appear in those geographically relevant searches. The churches near me, or Methodist Church in your town type of queries. And the absolute foundation, the cornerstone of local SEO for any church or any local organization really, is the Google Business Profile.
I've heard of a Google business profile. I think I've heard it called Google My Business before. Is that the thing that shows up on the side of the search results or in Google Maps with the church's name, address, phone number, maybe some pictures?
That's the one. It's completely free to create and manage. And Andy, it is arguably the single most impactful thing a church can do to improve its local online visibility. It's like your digital storefront on Google.
Wow, that seems important. Free and impactful sounds like a winning combination for churches. Is just having one enough? Or is there more to it?
Oh, there's definitely more to it than just having one. Claiming your profile is the first step, but optimizing it is a must. You want to make it accurate, engaging, and helpful. Think about what information someone searching for a church needs.
Service times, definitely. Location, phone number, and maybe what kind of church it is, like the denomination?
Yes, all of that. But you can add so much more. Photos of your building and congregation, your church logo, maybe special events really helps convey the personality and atmosphere of your church. It makes it more inviting than just text on a screen.
So it's not just about basic information, but about showcasing the church's identity. What else can you do with the profile?
Lots. You can actively engage with people. There's a feature to create posts. Think of them like mini updates or announcements directly on your Google profile. You can promote upcoming events, share special messages, or highlight a sermon series. It keeps your profile fresh and shows potential visitors that your church is active.
So it's like a bulletin board, but right there on Google Search and Maps?
Exactly. And then there's the Q&A section. People can ask questions directly on your profile like, do you have childcare during the service? Or is there parking available? The church can answer these publicly, which saves time and provides helpful info up front. Sometimes other users who know the church might even answer.
Interesting. So it can be a bit interactive. What about reviews? I see star ratings and comments on business profiles all the time.
Reviews are huge, Andy. People trust online reviews. In fact, if you're only going to do one thing for SEO, it would be gathering reviews from members. They're already big fans, and if you ask them to share how the church impacted their lives, chances are they'll do it, although it might take a few requests. If you're going to do this, be sure to collect your review link and your QR code from Google. You can print these off and place them throughout the church, making it easy for members and visitors to quickly scan and then share their thoughts on your church.
I see. So, claiming the profile, adding accurate info, photos, attributes, using posts, and managing reviews, that sounds like a fair bit to manage, but also really powerful.
It is powerful and honestly, really manageable once you get it set up. You can easily optimize your profile within an hour or two. From there, it's just adding photos and engaging with the community to collect and respond to reviews. If you're interested in learning more, we have a link in the show notes that details this process.
Okay, so the Google Business Profile is the foundation. What else builds on that?
Well, think about other places online where your church's name, address, and phone number might appear. These are called citations or local listings. Google looks at these listings across the web.
So it checks if the information is consistent everywhere?
Precisely. Consistency is key. Having your correct name, address, and phone number listed accurately and consistently across many relevant directories helps Google verify that your church is legitimate and located where you say it is. Inconsistent or incorrect information can confuse search engines and hurt your rankings. Think of it like confirming your identity with multiple forms of ID.
That makes sense. So we need to find these directories and make sure our church is listed correctly?
Yes, there are the big general ones like Yelp, Apple Business Connect, Bing Places, and Facebook pages, but also industry specific ones. For churches, that means directories like Church Finder, Church Angel, Faith Street, Church.org, and maybe even local Chamber of Commerce sites or community portals like Nextdoor. Getting listed accurately in these places builds your citation profile. If you're interested, we have a guide that lists out the most important ones.
Okay, so Google Business Profile first, then making sure we're listed correctly on other directories like Yelp, Apple Maps, and church specific ones. That's a lot of places to check and update.
It can be, but with a dedicated volunteer, it isn't very hard. We have a free study guide churches can use for this that lists all the places and provides links to getting them set up. Though it might be a lot of work, these citations only need to be set up once in most cases.
That seems less daunting. What else should churches be considering?
All this directory stuff is mostly happening off your church's actual website. We also need to talk about what happens on your website. That's what we call on page SEO.
Right, the website itself. Because the Google profile and directories usually link back to the church website, don't they?
Exactly. Your website is your home base online. You need to make sure it's optimized too. This involves several aspects, but keywords are fundamental. Keywords are the search terms people type into Google when looking for a church.
So, what kind of keywords should churches focus on?
Think about both practical and spiritual keywords. Practical ones might be Sunday service times, youth group near me, or even questions like what's the closest Baptist church?
Naturally. You mean not just stuffing church in any town into every sentence?
Yes, definitely not stuffing. Google's algorithms are sophisticated enough to recognize when keywords are being forced. It's about using relevant phrases where they make sense in your content.
So, thinking like someone who's searching. And what about the spiritual keywords you mentioned?
Spiritual keywords might include terms related to faith journeys, like finding faith community or growing closer to God. The key is balancing both types, addressing practical needs while also connecting with spiritual seekers.
I imagine different people search in different ways, right? Some might be very specific about denomination, while others might be looking more broadly.
That's exactly right. Some people might search for Methodist church with contemporary worship, while others simply type church near me or family friendly church. Understanding your community and potential visitors helps you identify which keywords to prioritize.
How do churches figure out which keywords people are actually using?
There are several free tools that can help with keyword research. We have links to tools like Answer the Public, Google Keyword Planner, and SEMrush in our guide. These tools show you what people are actually searching for in your area.
Okay, so keywords are important. What else on the website matters for SEO? I remember reading about things like meta descriptions and title tags.
Those are key on page elements. The title tag is essentially the headline that appears in the search results and in your browser tab. It should be clear, concise, usually 50 to 60 characters, and include important keywords. The meta description is that little snippet of text under the title in the search results. It's your chance to summarize the page and encourage someone to click. It should also contain relevant keywords and be compelling.
So they're like little preview ads for your web page in the search results?
That's a great way to describe them. And within the page content itself, using proper header structure, like H1 for the main title, H2 for major sections, H3 for subsections, helps both readers and search engines understand the organization and topics of your content. Including keywords in these headers is also a powerful practice.
Is this something the average church volunteer can handle, or do you need a web developer?
Most modern website platforms like WordPress, Squarespace, or Wix make it fairly easy to edit these elements. You don't need to be a coding expert. We've included a simple guide in our resources that walks through how to find and update these elements on popular platforms.
That's helpful. What about images? I know church websites often have lots of photos.
Images are incredibly important. They make your site more engaging and can also contribute to SEO. The key is to use descriptive file names and add what's called alt text, a brief description of the image that helps both search engines understand what the image shows and assists visually impaired visitors using screen readers.
So instead of IMG 12,345 JPG, something like First Baptist Church Sunday Service JPG would be better?
Exactly right. And the alt text might be something like congregation worshiping during Sunday service at First Baptist Church of any town. This provides context and incorporates keywords naturally.
This all sounds doable. Are there any tools that can help churches check if they've got these elements right?
Yes, there are several free SEO checker tools we recommend in our guide. They'll scan your website and point out missing elements or opportunities for improvement. We also have a simple checklist churches can use to make sure they've covered the basics.
And content itself matters, right? Just having keywords isn't enough?
Absolutely not. High quality, valuable content is crucial. For churches, this could be blog posts about community events, sermon recaps or transcripts, information about ministries, or daily reflections. In other words, content that resonates with your community and naturally incorporates those keywords we talked about. Regularly adding fresh content tells Google your site is active and relevant. Using images with descriptive alt text also helps.
So keywords, titles, descriptions, headers, quality content. What about the technical side? Does the website itself need to be technically sound?
Yes, technical SEO is important too. Two big things are website speed and mobile friendliness. If your site loads slowly, people will leave. Google knows this and prefers faster sites. And since so many people search on their phones, your website absolutely must work well and look good on mobile devices. Google actually prioritizes the mobile version of your site for ranking. It's called mobile first indexing.
Mobile first? Wow. So if your site isn't great on mobile, you're really hurting your chances.
You can totally whiff with potential visitors in a matter of seconds. People have very little patience online. If someone's looking for service times and your site takes forever to load or is difficult to navigate on their phone, they'll likely just go back and click on another church in the search results.
I've definitely done that myself. Are there ways to check how mobile friendly or fast a website is?
Yes, Google provides free tools for this. Google's Page Speed Insights and Mobile Friendly Test can show you exactly how your site performs and provide specific recommendations for improvement. Many issues can be fixed by optimizing images, removing unnecessary plugins, and streamlining your code.
And I'm guessing this is where having a decent web hosting service matters too?
You're absolutely right. Your hosting service is like the foundation of your house. You can have beautiful design elements, but if the foundation is weak, the whole thing becomes unstable. Cheap hosting might save a few dollars monthly, but could cost you significantly in lost visitors due to slow loading times.
This is a lot to take in, Jordan. Google Business Profile, local directories, keywords, on-page elements, and technical stuff. How does a church even know if what they're doing is working?
That's where tracking comes in. You don't want to just do all this and hope for the best. Tools like Google Analytics and Google Search Console Both free, by the way, are essential. Google Analytics shows you how people are finding your site, which keywords they're using, which sources like Google search or social media they come from, what pages they visit, how long they stay.
So you can see if people searching for churches near me are actually landing on your website.
That's right. You can see if those visitors are taking the actions you want, like checking your service times or contacting you. And Google Search Console helps you monitor your site's performance specifically in Google Search. It shows you which search queries bring up your site, lets you submit your sitemap directly to Google, and alerts you to technical issues Google might find when crawling your site.
That sounds incredibly helpful. So a church could see if their SEO efforts are actually bringing in the right kind of traffic.
Precisely. For example, you might discover that you're ranking well for youth group activities, but not for Sunday worship service. That tells you where to focus your content improvement efforts. These tools also show you trends over time, so you can see if your visibility is improving after making changes.
What about measuring the success of that Google business profile you mentioned earlier?
Great question. Google Business Profile has its own insights section that shows you how many people viewed your profile, how many asked for directions, how many called you directly from your listing, and even what search terms they use to find you. It's incredibly valuable data that helps you understand if your profile is working effectively.
And all these tracking tools are really free?
Completely free. They just require a bit of setup time, but the insights they provide are invaluable. Without them, you're essentially operating in the dark, unsure if your efforts are making any difference at all.
What about social media? Does posting on Facebook or Instagram help your Google ranking?
It's more of an indirect effect. Social media activity itself isn't a direct ranking factor for Google search. However, being active on social media drives traffic back to your website when you share links to blog posts or event pages. It increases your church's overall online visibility and engagement. More eyes on your content, more shares, it all contributes to people discovering your church, which can indirectly boost your authority and, eventually, your search rankings. Think of it as part of the whole ecosystem of your online presence.
Ecosystem. I like that. So while posting on Facebook might not directly improve your Google ranking, it's still valuable because it sends visitors to your website and builds awareness.
Exactly. Social media is where many people spend their time online, especially younger generations. When someone shares your church's post about an upcoming event, their friends and family see it. People who might never have found you through a Google search. Then, when those people visit your site from that social post, Google notices that traffic and engagement, which can positively impact your rankings over time.
So churches should be thinking about their total online presence, not just SEO in isolation.
Absolutely. Your church's digital footprint includes your website, Google Business Profile, directory listings, social media accounts, and even things like email newsletters. They all work together. For example, you might post a sermon recap on your website, share it on Facebook, include it in your email newsletter, and then see visitors coming to your site from all those different sources. Each platform reaches different people in different ways.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about being where people are already spending their time online.
Right. And the content you create can serve multiple purposes across these platforms. A single sermon can become website content, social media posts, newsletter material, and even podcast episodes. This integrated approach maximizes your reach while keeping your workload manageable.
That paints a much clearer picture. It all works together. Google Business Profile, website SEO, local directories, content, reviews, and social media. They're all pieces of the same puzzle.
Exactly. And the goal for churches is simple: be visible and helpful to the people in your community who are searching for a spiritual home. These strategies, starting with that free Google Business Profile, are the path to making that happen. It's not about complex tricks, it's about clearly communicating who you are, where you are, and what you offer, both to people and to search engines.
That feels much more manageable when you put it that way. You mentioned you have a number of free resources to help our listeners implement all this, right?
We have an abundance of them. We have a free SEO course, which is actually the first session of our larger church growth course. It covers all the low-hanging fruit of SEO for churches that we've discussed today. It also comes with a study guide containing 28 free resources.
That sounds really comprehensive. What kind of resources are included?
Everything from step-by-step guides for setting up your Google business profile to keyword research tools and templates for optimizing your website content. The goal of this course is to show the simplest, low-cost, or free tactics for church SEO. For those who want to go deeper, we include a link to our comprehensive church SEO guide. And last of all, we keep a running list of the best marketing tactics for churches. That link is also in our notes.
That's a ton of helpful content. I'm sure our listeners will appreciate having those resources available to them as they work on improving their online visibility.
We're always here to help and support churches and equip them with what they need to succeed online. At the end of the day, better visibility means more opportunities to connect with people seeking community and faith.
Thank you for sharing all this expertise with us today, Jordan. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have too.
It's been my pleasure, Andy. Remember, every church has a unique story and mission. SEO is just about making sure that story can be found by the people who need to hear it.
Thank you for joining us today on the Church Growth and Giving Show. We hope all this information will help spark growth for your church. Please like and subscribe to our channel for the latest updates. It also helps support us in creating free materials and content to help you and other churches in your mission.